biggest thing I can say, and the biggest thing that has allowed us to go from nothing to what I think is really exciting and so much potential in our business is VPA, vendor funded advertising. I was quite clear right from the start that every single property I listed, my goal was to get VPA for. And we just worked it out the other day that in the last calendar, or in the just the end of the financial year that's finished, which was my first year, which was we started in June, first transaction in June. We did under 52,000 of VPA for that period. So it ended up about, or just under $3,000 per listing. And it's been such a crucial thing in regard to my profile and people in my market knowing who I am and what I do. And look, I 100% believe in VPA, and my absolute genuine reason for selling it to vendors is because I think it's going to give them the absolute best possible chance of getting a really, really good result, which it does. And we've had some outstanding results in the last 6 to 12 months based on getting a lot of people to a property, then creating competition, and then 2 or 3 groups going head to head and trying to buy the property, which has resulted in really, really good results for our vendors, which is great. There's also no point hiding behind the fact that it also is great for my profile as well in my area. And it's amazing now. We worked it out the other day. So I've got 32% market share at the moment in the last 12 months, which is really cool. But, you know, we've got some big goals around that to sort of try and get to that 65% market share. It's amazing how many people come up to me now and say, geez, is there anyone else who's selling lifestyle properties in West Melton now, or is it just you? And it's because it's just perception. At the end of the day, all of my listings have half-page ads in Property Press and in our local paper. All of my listings are feature listings on realestate.co.nz and Trade Me. We put $200 of Facebook boosting, vendor-funded Facebook boosting in every listing. So we're doing a Facebook boost. So we're getting professional photography for every listing. We're getting videos made for every listing, all vendor funded. And so the quality of the material is really, really good. And it's being hyper circulated everywhere, which is fantastic for the property and fantastic for my profile. And I just find we get it because we ask for it, and we get it because I believe in it. And a big part of my listing presentation is me demonstrating to my vendors how I can get them the best possible result. And a big part of me getting the best possible result is to have the best marketed property. People clearly recognise that when you're on the market in competition with other properties, and to compete with those other properties, we need to be the best marketed property. So that's the pitch, basically. And I've developed some really cool dialogue around vendor funded, and it, as I say, it forms a big part of my listing presentation, and it's been a really, really big part of me building profile in my target area. Do I have packages? No, I don't. But what I do is I plan as part of my planning. I'll come up with an individualised marketing plan for each property, and it does vary in price, but sort of the minimum would be sort of probably 2,000 to 2,500, and generally sort of up. We don't go huge. Probably the most expensive one's probably only been 3,500. And the pitch I take with people is that, look, at the end of the day, you pull me in as an expert to try and give you some advice as to how we get the best possible for your property. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, look, at the end of the day, if you don't like what I propose, or if circumstances mean that you just can't do what I propose, happy to chat about that and happy to talk about it and work out what we do or don't necessarily have to do in that plan. But in the first instance, here's what I recommend. and this is the way we go about it. Yeah, dialogue around VPA is first and foremost. I always start with the why. I never talk about how much it's going to cost. I always start with the why we need VPA. And I talk about the buyer pyramid, and I talk about the fact that generally three prices. So, say for example, if I've appraised the property at 900,000, I'll do a buyer pyramid which might have sort of the bottom of the pyramid being, related to the number of groups we're likely to get through a property. So say we're going to get 30 groups through a property over a 4-week deadline campaign. On the bottom of the pyramid, I'll say, look, there's 20 groups there that we call these sort of the bargain hunters. And whilst I've appraised your property at 900, they'll be probably seeing if they can buy it around 850, then they might be interested. So they're the bargain hunters, and the likelihood of 20 out of the 30 we see are probably going to be in that range. In the middle of the pyramid, we might have 8 groups, and they'll be what we call market-focused groups, and they might see it, somewhere around the appraisal price, maybe 25,000 plus or minus. So they're the market-focused groups. The top of the pyramid, and there's only likely to be 2 of these groups, are what we call the emotive buyers, and they're the ones that need to buy your property regardless. And the beauty of them is that they may see it at 950 if they need to buy it because they just need it. And what we need to do is come up with a marketing plan that's going to make sure that we capture those 2 emotive buyers. And the thing is with the emotive buyers is they're quite often not the ones who are actively looking. They're not the ones who are on Trade Me every day looking at listings and seeing what's new. They're the ones that maybe obviously are considering a move but are just waiting for the right thing to come along. So we need to come up with a marketing plan that's going to cast the net as wide as possible to make sure we capture as many of those emotive buyers as possible. And so that's sort of a good starting point, just to put a bit of dialogue around why we need to market a property. And then I just talk about all the different avenues and why we need to make sure we capture everyone. It's just everything we do, we're doing for a reason, as opposed to just saying, I also want you to spend $2,500 on marketing. And you're not actually giving them any reason to sign up. And the other thing we make sure we do is every listing is on Facebook with a video. We boost it as soon as it's listed, prior to the first open home, a couple of times during the campaign, prior to the deadline closing, and with generally 4 or 5 properties on the go at some stage. So there's generally a boost going on to Facebook every day. We do 1,500 DLEs for every single listing, every single just sold. So every single home in my target area, something in their letterbox every week from me. We do our monthly newsletters, just making sure we're doing all of that stuff consistently. So there's a lot of, and still doing my 100 calls every week. So all of that really is about building profile, continuing to build profile, and the perception of the market is that we're the most active and busiest agent in the market.